President Mark, fellow Rotarians and guests. The role of the sergeant, I understand, in this club is to inform, entertain, amuse. I'm not quite sure what this session's going to fall into. A little bit of all of them, I hope. But Mark signalled this with his comment about President nominee. Some of you will know that about 8-9 years ago, I was president of the Rotary Club of London, and I thought, what better thing to do today than to share with you some of the practices of a sergeant session at the Rotary Club of London. Perhaps with a view to making some changes in a year or so. The Rotary Club of London has the same president, the same sergeant for the entire year, in fact probably for an entire decade. And the sergeant's job is not to fine members, but first of all to call the meeting to order and then invite members to be upstanding to greet the President-elect and the Speaker for the day as they process into the room. Now there is the sergeant at the Rotary Club of London. What a fine fellow, resplendent in his sash. Now I'm sure there'll be volunteers for that role. Instead of fining, the club members solemnly insert now a £2, or most recently a £2 coin. It was a £1 coin when I was in London, but in fact their centennial year president suggested to members that they should increase that to £2. So I don't think there's any issue about affordability there. And the collection goes into the little box you can see on the centre of the table. It's passed from hand to hand as people silently drop in their £2 coin and then write their name on the wheel, the paper wheel that's sitting on top of it, to record their attendance at the meeting. Now, I'm suggesting that for today's session, instead of fining anyone, you simply quietly make your contribution. We don't have a box with a nice rotary wheel attached to it and a slot in the top, but there is a plate on the table that you can use instead and pretend it looks like that. And then treat it as a vote. If you don't want to change from your current system, then put lots of dosh in the plate. Thank you.
Thank you, President Mark, and Hannah Wignall and I are going to share this presentation. So it's about Rotary Club Wellington Forums. I should acknowledge Tony Hessard is the chair of the Forums Committee, and over the years it's had some great events, and you can see them on this slide here. Going back to 2011, well on organisational effectiveness in times of seismic risk. Then the next year, what do we want? How do we get there? In 2013, it was about how the Crown, MMP and our treaty could change our lives. And 2014, survive and thrive in NGO land. And 2015, in privacy and security dilemma. Now these forums are delivered as part of our community service role. That is, it's an opportunity to use our networks and our influence to enable important discussions in our community. So, this year, the 2017 forum theme is on what is your impossible dream for Wellington? And how we got to this is we were thinking, wonder what it was like for a young Peter Jackson 30 years ago, a boy playing around with cameras in Pukekohe Bay. What was his impossible dream? Did he ever imagine the career that would unfold for him, what he would do to the movie-making world and for Wellington? Well, fast forward 30 years. And what we want to do this year is to engage with a whole lot of young and not so young entrepreneurs, including lots of you, and ask you, what would it take to achieve the impossible dream for Wellington City and region? And so 3 things we thought we should dream about as being the magnet to thought leaders and talent, a world-leading incubator for creativity, somewhere that's proudly vibrant, diverse and tolerant. And you'll note that we have said it's Wellington City and region, so we want to think about not just Wellington City but also Porirua and Kapiti Coast, Hutt City and Upper Hutt City and the Wairarapa, because they're all part of the Wellington region. So the question is, what would our city and region be like in this impossible dream? And so some of the elements of it we thought are, well, our communities are always safe and resilient. Businesses, homes and schools flourish with digital connectivity. We live in a pristine natural environment, and all citizens enjoy a high level of well-being. And so the event is going to occur on Tuesday the 1st of August in the St James Theatre foyer from 12:15 p.m. to 7 p.m. Now, we have lined up 12 of the most inspiring speakers in New Zealand. It's going to be TEDx-style short speeches, conversations with the audience. We'll have panel discussions, we'll have networking, sharing ideas, online questions come in from the audience being put to our panel. And there'll be follow-up engagement through social media with videos of the session going on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter conversations. I'll now hand over to Hannah to talk more about it.
First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm really pleased to be here. I've just come off the back of an event, TEDx Wellington, and I experienced yesterday firsthand how amazing it is to have a bunch of really curious and passionate people in the room together. And I think I'm personally excited about being involved with the Rotary Forum, because all of you guys are able to create a space where people can actually discuss and debate the future of the city, and that doesn't happen not for the general public, not getting young, old, and everyone in between together. So I think it's a really, really exciting opportunity. And I will just flip to. We had a young designer help us out with the artwork, we'll call it, for the event. But again, it's just people are interested in putting their hand up and helping out where they can. So we're going to have a bigger presence online with this event as well, trying to engage a lot of different and interesting groups. So I'm going to flick through 6 of the speakers that we have announced, and there are 6 more to announce coming up. And I'm not going to hang about long on the slides, but on the tables you'll have a little bit of information, and you'll see we have an official title for the speakers, and then we also have asked them, and I'll use the word nifty, but we've asked them to give us a little bit of a different title for them, and then we asked them what their impossible dream for Wellington was. This is not necessarily what they'll be talking about. We've asked them to be quite provocative and really challenge what the future could be for Wellington. So Peter Biggs, Ludo Campbell-Reid, excuse the formatting on that one. A designer's point of view. Melissa Clark-Reynolds. I like this, a city with 1 gig-a-second internet, like every home and business has on the Isle of Jersey. Pinnaman recently ran the New Zealand African Fashion Festival, a sold-out event. Just another example about how people are really, really keen to congregate around fresh, new ideas. DK, so a personal friend of mine, I run TEDx Wellington with him, and he's an excellent, excellent public speaker. Bishop Justin Duckworth. And I think we are good, yeah. So, if I just lean as I go, I'm too short. No. So we sent you all a flyer last week with a bit of key information, and we've sent it out, the committee have sent it out to their networks, and we would love it if you would also forward that on. A lot of the time, the initial interest and attraction from the event comes from directly the people closest to us. So if you are interested in the event, we would love it if you could push that out. And then we've also got a present online, and today we had a lovely meeting with the Don Post. I'll let Roger talk about that. All right.
Thanks, Hannah. Yes, we met, Hannah and Fraser Carson and I met with Bernadette Courtney, the editor of the Don Post, to ask her if we could form some sort of a partnership between Wellington Rotary and the Don Post on this Impossible Dreams, because the Post is a very strong advocate for Wellington, this region and city, and she was very open to the idea, so that sounds very promising. So finally, how you can help. Well, first of all, we'd love it if everyone in this room came along and participated in this event, and you can do that by registering at the bottom of the flyer that you've been sent out. We'd love to have some volunteers, of anyone who's prepared to get on the end of a phone and ring up a few people on the Rotary, wider Rotary list and encourage them to come along. Can I see are there any volunteers here? Anyone prepared to put their hand up to volunteer to do that? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be right now, but maybe if you could, rather than put the heat on you, come and mention it. I'm having to go early, but maybe mention it to President Mark. Might be helpful if you're prepared to volunteer to do that. Thirdly, we'd love you to talk it up in your forums, your networks. We think it's a perfect example of what our new proposed Rotary Club Wellington strategic vision, still to be ratified by the board, and still to be introduced by new President Peter in his 17th of July presidential inaugural address. And it is Rotary Club Wellington, Leaders of Positive Social Change. Now, the forum is exactly in that space, and it's been doing it for several years now, putting out some big ideas, some bold, exciting, challenging ideas to the community of Wellington and challenging them to dare to dream and dare to act on their impossible dreams. Thank you.